This is The Express with Gary Allen, your 360-degree view of the world. Now, here's your host, Gary Allen.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition of The Express. Gary Allen with you here on a beautiful Tuesday evening. I hope everybody's had a great time. Sorry for last week's cancellation. Things just got a little hectic there for a little bit, and I had to take care of some other things, but I trust all of you are having a wonderful, good time. We have a very interesting guest who'll be joining us in just a little tiny bit. And of course, I just want to send a special thank you out to EW, who handles the controls here. But please, EW, don't touch that red button, whatever you do. This show will repeat itself at 7 p.m. on Thursday evening on diversitybroadcastnetwork.com. Also, too, you can catch whatever you want to know about me on my website, which is Gary Allen, ALAN, talkshow.com. Has all the podcast places you can find it, all the links and everything about me if you're really that interested, which hopefully you do. You can also go to tmvcafe.com and you'll see the archives. Go to the radio tab, archives, and you'll see the little square from not only my show, but other shows that are on this network. And you'll be able to catch up on everything that's going on within the network itself. And, of course, we're all very excited to talk about that. I found out something really interesting. By the way, the one thing about doing the show at 10 o'clock at night is that I don't get to see the end of Dr. Bull. I really like the show. I like Michael Weatherly, and I love it. So I don't even know how this show is going to end tonight, but hopefully I'll find out later. The gentleman that we have on tonight here on The Express with yours truly, Gary Allen, is a gentleman who is an excellent author. He's also a fitness expert, and he's written this wonderful book called The Leadership Diet, 21 Health Laws of Leadership. From the book, you'll get how to regain your health, how to stay energized all day, how to reduce your stress level, how to stick to your exercise program, how to fuel your body for maximum productivity. So I'm very excited to have on here Larry Anderson. Larry, welcome to, or Jerry Anderson. I want to say Larry Anderson. I'm thinking of the Phillies. Jerry Anderson from California, or from Las Vegas now. Jerry, how are you? Good evening and welcome to The Express.
Oh, thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. I'm doing fantastic. Looking forward to sharing some great information with your listeners. We're going to have an awesome time.
I hope so. A little bit about you. You're an author and speaker, leadership health expert. You're a health certified personal trainer, a former Mr. Natural Universe. You're also featured on CNN 55 times, and you're a trusted health expert. And according to what you have said, your mission is simple. I want to help you improve your health. Real simple. I mean, that mission is real simple, right to the point. You just want people to feel better and to conduct their life in a better way. Where did the idea for this book gain some momentum for you?
It's a great question, Gary. One of the ways I come up with the 21 Health Laws of Leadership, the title is The Leadership Diet, and the subtitle is the 21 Health Laws of Leadership. I've been doing leadership speaking, training, and working with people in leadership, and just everyone, my definition of a leader, anyone who's in charge of someone else is a leader. You could be a mom, you could be a dad, you could be an older brother, older sister. You're in leadership position because your behavior, your habits are being carried over to the person that's watching what you're doing. You're an example. So a lot of these health laws has come from 30 years of just working with leaders, working with people in training, with coaching. And I found that these laws are guaranteed to produce results that you need to stay healthy as you fulfill your assignment, your gift, whatever the thing you love to do, whatever drives you the most, because you can't do it without your body. It's an impossibility.
Yeah, that's very, very true. And, of course, we're talking to Jerry Anderson, the author of The Leadership Diet, 21 Health Laws of Good Leadership. It's the sort of the subtitle. It's an excellent book. You can get it on Amazon. Please go and get it because I know one of the many things, and one thing we're going to talk about in a little while, of course, is everybody's New Year's resolution about, losing weight and getting healthier. And we go with it for about 2 weeks and then we go, I'm going to go have a pizza. So, which, by the way, by itself, pizza, it doesn't hurt you. It's just how much of that pizza you eat at one particular setting. So where did you come up with the 21 health laws? Was it just over a period of 30 years you saw what you saw and you helped people and you implemented this to some of your clientele? Because I know you're living in Las Vegas now and you're a trainer there.
Yes.
And did this also come along with that, with your different clients over the years? This worked, this didn't work, that worked, this didn't work. Was it sort of that a trial and error kind of a thing?
You're exactly right, Gary. It's cause and effect. It's trial and error, just seeing results of it. And this comes from the personal training, the speaking engagements, the television shows, the radio shows, that just coming up with these different health laws, these strategies and tips to help people get healthy and create a habit so they can sustain it. And what I've done is, as a professional health coach and a professional speaker, I've taken the 21 health laws that I think will produce the greatest result for you so that you can get on track and stay on track. So this is just the top 21. So I had more, but I just nailed it down to these are the ones that are going to produce the greatest result with the least amount of effort that's really going to benefit you.
One thing that came to mind while I was preparing for this show and in the last 15 minutes when I sat down here in the studio was, and I know people are going to laugh at this, and you probably will too, but this is coming from a male here, a real go-getter kind of guy. As you lose weight and as you are fit, it also improves your love life for you and your mate, correct?
Most definitely, because what it does, Gary, what's so awesome about it, that when you exercise, it increases blood flow. So your receptors in your skin, everything gorgeous quickly, and it maintains, it gives you endurance, and it actually just makes you feel good. You know, when you look good, you exercise, you're strong, and you just want to do it. So it definitely enhances your love life. It'll make you a joy to the eye, pleasant to the touch.
Well, unfortunately, when you look like Jay Leno and you got a barrel chest, there's nothing pleasant about looking at me. But oh well, we'll try to get through it. You know, let's talk about something that I mentioned here just a few minutes ago, and that's fad diets. Everybody goes through this. If there's not one diet after another diet, there's thousands and thousands of diet books out there. I think somebody recently tried the Oprah Winfrey diet, and unless you have the Oprah Winfrey income, you're not going to really last very long on the Oprah Winfrey diet. Talk about fad diets, and also too, I remember someone once said to me, yo-yo dieting is not really the way to go. So if you're going to put your body in shape, this is a life plan. This is not something you do just to drop 10 or 15 pounds, because you can do that. And that's another thing, too, I want to get into, is that when you drop 10 or 15 pounds and you stop whatever you're doing, generally, not only do you put that weight back on, but you also increase it. So, but for the moment, let's talk a little bit about fad diets, the negative of them, and do any of them really ever work?
You know, Gary, you're hitting on something that's huge. I mean, it is fad diets. There's over 30,000 diets on the market, and majority of them are fad diets. Even my book is called The Leadership Diet. It's called The Leadership Diet because people respond to the title, but the solution is the 21 Health Laws of Leadership. And my 18th Health Law of Leadership is avoid fad diets, because this is how I evaluate if it's a fad diet. Your body needs 6 nutrients to function properly: protein, carbs, fats, vitamins, minerals, and water. Any diet that doesn't provide those nutrients within it is not you're going to become nutrient deficient, and it opens you up for disease and sickness. So you can put a title on it, but that's superficial. What the problem is, it's not meeting the needs. It's almost like your car. They tell you, okay, let's take the gas out and let's run it. Let's take the oil out and let's run your car. Let's take the transmission fluid out and let's drive your car. See, that's ridiculous when you look at it in real life. But that's what a lot of these fad diets are doing. And that's my evaluation point on a fad diet. I remember doing a segment on CNN, Gary, and one of the topics, it was fad diets, are they after your wallet or your waistline? And I broke those diets down. And they didn't look too good when I finished with them. I pulled their pants down for them. So,
yeah, I mean, I have literally been in the presence of people that were overweight. When I got out of the military, I had like a 32, 33 inch waist, and it isn't that anymore. Uh, but I also know people that are very, very skinny that have, 32, 33-inch waists, the same as they did. I have a buddy of mine in Miami, Michael, who works for one of the networks down there. He's a cameraman. And but he's in the worst health of his life. His knees ache. This is bad. That's bad. I mean, you got to be careful. We're going to get into that as we talk about exercise and stuff. But just because you're a little overweight doesn't necessarily mean your health is really bad. It's where the weight is. Now, from what I understand, if you have a belly, that's not good because that brings itself to the possibility of a heart attack or a stroke.
Yep. And Gary, you've covered a couple of topics really quickly in there. Let me just finish off with the fad diet. Here's the ultimate fad diet question. You ask yourself, can you follow it for 10 years? Can you follow it for 20 years? Can you follow it for 30 years? That tells you if you should follow it at all because it's a dead-end street. So the fad diets are out. If it doesn't meet your nutritional needs, you're the one that's going to come up short. You're the one that's going to be hurt. For whatever that book was $12 or $24, it's going to cost you that much more in healthcare. So you really want to avoid the fad diets. And another part that you just hit on was that a person who you could be underweight and unfit, and you could be a little bit overweight and fit. Which one's in better health? Fit is fit. So it's not the body weight, it's the fitness weight. Because a lot of times what I do is I check people's body fat percentage. And I tell you, okay, you weigh 200 pounds. I just checked your body fat percentage. You have 120 pounds of muscle and you have 80 pounds of fat. So I go over and get them on 80-pound dumbbell. I said, look, carry this. I said, Jerry, I can't carry it. Well, that's what you're carrying around all day long. Yeah. So the only way to be able to carry it is increase your muscle weight. So all those parts are a part of the equation. So you have to watch out.
What about people that, and I told you we were going to get into this discussion. What about the old adage that if you are poor, you are low income, that they say, well, the reason that those kids are undernourished and they're not fed well is because they're poor and they go out and they buy junk food. Well, I went to Burger King tonight, which is one of my favorite places to go, and I spent $9, and that ain't cheap. I'm telling you. And you brought up a point, and it's true because I do shop at the 99-cent stores. You can get a lot of nutritional food at a 99-cent store.
You're exactly right, Gary. I did a thing in L.A. About 10 years ago, and I took a reporter to the 99-cent store, and she was saying the same exact thing that you're saying, that a lot of people in the inner city or don't have money, they can't eat healthy. I went to the 99-cent store, and I put together a week's meal for 3 times a day for a whole family of 4 on less than $25. So it's not about the amount of money, it's the choices you're making, and you're not consuming your food, eating food that has no nutrients. So those nutrients, all it did was satisfy your taste bud, and the rest of it's doing anything. It's like putting gasoline on the outside of your gas tank and wondering how come your tank is not full. It's ridiculous, but you can do it. You just have to make healthy choices. Here's one of my perspectives on it, Gary. For instance, if in certain areas that you live, and if they don't have that fresh fruit, the vegetables, and the grains you want, if you don't buy it, they don't sell it, they're going to make the adjustments. I tell you what, if all of these hamburger stands and all these places, if we got over 300 million Americans. If you had 300 million people who eat like me, they'll be out of business. Mm-hmm. There's no way, because I don't go to them. I don't eat that. They would have to adjust to what my needs are, because that's all they're doing. It's not they're intentionally doing it. They're doing it because that's what the satisfaction of the people want. But when you change your taste buds, they'll change their menu.
We're talking to the Leadership Diet author, Jerry L. Anderson, 21 Health Laws of Leadership. Gary Allen with you here on The Express. Glad to have you with us. And, of course, glad to have Jerry. Is it the fact that the parents today were raised on junk food? Because let's face it, I'm 65, and that's about when the fast food joints, when I was like, the first one I noticed was McDonald's when I was about 9 or 10 years old. They were around probably before then, of course. But is it because it's easier, simpler, along with our everyday lifestyle of push button results for everything, fast food in, fast food out? Oh, just get the macaroni stuff for the kids and the heck without having a balanced meal. I mean, is it just the way we're programmed now that you find the resistance when you tell people this is how you really should eat as compared to the junk you've been eating?
And Gary, that's a great question, because what happens is when I talk to people about their habits, you could hear the depth that they planted that seed in them. I had a lady a couple of weeks ago, and I was having a coaching session with her, and she says, Jerry, I'm an emotional eater. She didn't say I'm an emotional eater. She she said it like it was part of her DNA. Mm-hmm. I said, wait a minute, I have an issue with that. Emotional eating is not part of your DNA. That's a choice you've made, and you've dug that and embedded it into your mind so deep that you truly believe it. We need to pull that. We don't need to trim the fruit. We need to pull up the root. Because I said, hey, that's an issue, because I can't help you when you embed it into your DNA when it's not your DNA, because you can create a false belief. So that's what people do, is create a false belief, and they see the return on investment. It's cause and effect. You're going to reap what you sow. So in the end, you're going to pay the price. So the thing is, you can't embed things in you and DNA unless it's something that's going to produce the results you want, which is a healthy body, a healthy lifestyle. So there's so many ways that people are unconscious that they actually embed those things, or they say, I'm just naturally big. Well, here's the deal. If you're naturally big and I don't feed you, will you still gain weight? Mm-hmm. See, and that's the thing, is set up in their mind that they say, I'm naturally big, so they position themselves to allow themselves to eat unhealthy and to be unhealthy, but it's not going to take away the pain of it, because it is a choice that you make every single day on the outcome that you're going to have. So there is a lot of things that's genetic, that hereditary, is culture, but in the end, Gary, we got to evaluate what's best for us. And in the end, that's what it comes down to. Are you doing things that destroy you or are going to build you? It's just it's a bad choice. And we need to be honest, and we need to look into the future. And I was telling a client of mine the other day, I said, look, these things you're doing, that they're not just for you, they're for your daughters and your husband, because you're the one who's doing the grocery shopping. You're the one who's cooking the food. You're making the decisions. So you're not only impacting yourself, you're impacting the entire family. So you have to make sure, that's why you're in leadership. You are going to impact everyone else, and then they're going to have the health issues. You're going to be on the side of the bed wondering what happened, and you know that you didn't make the right decision. That's when the pain comes through.
Yeah. I mean, it's just laziness on some people's part. They just don't care. I know, and this as a personal trainer in a lot of facilities around the country. You're right after New Year's again. I'll go back to that point. People Perfect. Are joining gyms left and right, and they go for about 3 weeks to a month, and then they stop or they make excuses, and they have to understand that, in order to get somewhere in life, whether it be losing weight, getting fit, success at work, whatever, there's sweat that's involved, whether it's sweat equity or whether it's actual sweat going to the gym. And most people, again, want that button to be pushed, and bam, I've dropped 39 pounds in the last whatever. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And the same thing with eating habits. It takes a while to change them. We're going to get into the salad thing and stuff from the other chapters. Here's one question for you, though. Does your plan work? Yeah, go ahead. Okay,
Gary, let me just interrupt you shortly on that, because you're right on the weight loss thing for the new year. So I see the big rush into the gym. I see the big rush in commitment. But one thing I've noticed this year what's been phenomenal to me, every time they have a big Olympic event or the Olympics or something big going on television, more people come to the gym. Because they see those bodies in great shape. They see how wonderful and youthful and vibrant and how awesome it looks. Then they want it, but then that's not enough. See, that's the wrong motive. See, that motive don't sustain because these athletes are peaking their performance, and that's why they look like that, but they're not like that all year long, and you're carrying that momentum. So you have to create realistic habits that will sustain long enough for you to develop, turn it into a reflex, and then you automatically get the benefits of it, because you can't just get an impulse emotionally, because that's going to die.
Mm-hmm.
It won't last. The habit will.
Oh no, yeah. Your brain is overtaken by the habit more than it does to want to make the reform and do something different that will benefit yourself. Does your plan work for everyone, or are there some people, and we all know someone or some people that are like this, that are obese, that it's part of their genetic makeup? I know that they can probably lose weight, whether they keep it off forever or not, I don't know. Luther Vandross was another example earlier of what I was going to say about the yo-yo dieting, and it eventually killed him because it destroyed his heart. But does your plan work for everyone, or are there people that, hey, before you try my plan, go to the doctor and make sure you're going to be fit enough and the nutrients are going to be there for you to do this? I mean, again, is it for everyone, or do you recommend people go see a physician before they start any kind of a diet?
Well, yeah, you're exactly right. Everyone, you should always see a physician before you start any type of plan. And it's almost like you know your numbers. So when you go to the physician, they're going to weigh you in. They're going to check your blood pressure. I just went last Wednesday, and they actually checked my oxygen level. So I'm like, are you guys doing a VO2 max? So they check your oxygen level. So now you know your starting point. Then you can go on the leadership diet, which is for everyone, and then your doctor can track your results. But you need to know your starting point. You need to know what your blood pressure is. You need to know your blood profile. You need to know what your triglycerides are like. You need to go have your blood sugar checked. All of those numbers let you know what's going on inside your body internally, which you can't see externally. But I mean, I can actually listen to you and tell what kind of shape your heart's in. If you start exercising, I can tell how you're breathing. So this plan is for everyone to make these choices, because, Gary, we have to really look at it. The choices that we've been making so far have produced a result that we don't want, because it's almost, there's a study that came out that said by 2030, 90% of Americans be overweight, obese, and almost 90% of African-American women and Hispanic men are already at 90%. So they're 12 years ahead of schedule.
Wow.
Yes. So that's an issue. So you got to put on the blinkers, make a U-turn, and go in the other direction, because these numbers are getting worse. They're not getting better. It's like a snowball going downhill. So there's some accountability that you have to put into this, because people are, well, I don't want to be, you're not on a diet. This is a lifestyle change, but you have to be accountable, because everything, there's a cause and effect. You can't jump out the building and then start praying. That's not going to work.
No, absolutely not. We're talking to Jerry Anderson. He's the author of The Leadership Diet, 21 Health Laws of Leadership. He is a certified personal trainer. He's been on CNN about 55 times. You can get the book on Amazon. Also, go to his website, healthcoachjerry.com, and there's videos on there and information that'll help you, guide you. And, of course, you can always contact Jerry. There is a contact portion on the website, I believe, that you can contact Jerry and ask him questions, and he'll be more than happy to accommodate you in that sense. Have you ever been disappointed with a client that was doing so well, and then boom, they just stopped and everything reversed itself?
You know, that's a great question, Gary, because you know what? I wouldn't say disappointed. I understand. For instance, I had a client the other week. She comes in. She's been doing great. I set up a fat loss chart. She's been dropping 2 pounds of fat every week. Then one week she comes in and says, Jerry, I worked at missions for my church, and I didn't get a chance to eat. I didn't get a chance to exercise. I cannot not weigh in today. I said, no problem, because you've been sticking to the program so perfectly. I'm going to show some flexibility. The next week, she was back on track. So the thing is, when you're accountability, if you're setting up some parameters for yourself, like one of my health laws is, weigh yourself once a week. Get on the scale. That's health law number 14. Get on the scale and weigh yourself. So the thing is, you can't go back that far, because every week you're writing down your body weight. Go, wait a minute. It's been 2 weeks. I've gained 2 pounds a week. So I need to shut it down, What's the problem? Has to be the cardio, the strength training, the nutrition, and you got to address those things to make the adjustments. So you can't just let it reel away. You got to set up some parameters. It's almost like the stock market. There's a point where it drops, you automatically sell. Then there's a point where it goes up, you automatically sell. Set a set point that it goes there. That's it. You're not going to go below that. It's not going to happen. And you're going to dig in and stay healthy because it's costly to give up your health.
Yes, it is. It is very much so. Also, one of the points in your book that you bring out, which is very, very important, because we're all living, and we're going to start getting into the chapters of the book here in just a few minutes. One of the things that you point out is, and it's true in life, we are under, as human beings, no matter whether you live in the United States, throughout Europe or Asia or South America or the African continent, we're under stress. The world is a stressful place these days. And those few minutes of happiness that you can find along the way are very few, and they're getting dimmer as each day goes by. But by being in shape mentally, physically, it helps relieve the stress, or if you have it, you can get rid of it a lot quicker. Talk about that for a little bit, would you?
You're exactly right, Gary. That's huge, and it's not even, you can't avoid it. You know, it's amazing. I'm glad you brought that up because I just signed up a new client today, and he's managing about 12 hotels in the accounting department. And even in his walk, in his conversation, he's so stressed out. It's like a film of stress around his body. And I'm like, whoa, Jimmy, what is going on with this stress? I have all these things to do. I have all these things to do. But guess what? I told him, I said, look, when you have vasoconstriction that's contracting your arteries and you pass out, you have a heart attack, or you have a stroke, guess what? They are going to replace you. So don't let stress just mount up. And Gary, you're exactly right. When you exercise, when you're lifting weights, that's stress, the weights that you're lifting. So you're learning how to manage yourself with stress. When you're doing your cardio, you're learning how to manage yourself with stress. When you're making wise food choices, you learn how to manage yourself with stress. So those are just awesome ways to build up your ability to manage stress. But if you go into the leadership diet, pick up my book. The health law number 20 is called Relax and Laugh. And what this does is when you laugh, it opens up your arteries. When you're under stress, it constricts them. It's like a water hose. When you're under stress, it bends it and the water won't flow. And that's what happens to your heart and your brain. But when you laugh, it opens that whole hose up so you can get the blood, oxygen, nutrients into your cells, and then replace the bad stuff so it returns back into your heart. So relaxing and laughing helps open up the arteries, which is fantastic. I remember years ago, a client of mine was telling me their husband had been working 12 hours a day. He's been totally stressed out. One day he comes into the house, opens the front door, and passes out. She thought he had died, called the paramedics. They revived him, took him to the hospital, couldn't figure out what was going on. He was there for 10 days. And she said, I don't know what happened. I said, you know what? His stress level was so high, it constricted his arteries and cut off the blood flow. That's why if you relax and laugh every day, you know, watch your favorite comedy show. Laugh with your friends. Do something to open those arteries up, because what it does is flushes all the nutrients back into your cells, and it rejuvenates you to 100%, and it helps you manage stress, and it recharges your body. You know, Milton Berle said something that was really awesome. He said, laughter is like a smile that bursts. So it's just kind of, it's joyful. You just feel good, and the system is great. So every day we need to relax and laugh. And there's a study I just read the other day, Gary. It says children laugh 400 times a day and adults only 15. What happened to the 285 laughs?
They grew up.
Oh, exactly. So the thing is that constriction, it keeps opening up the arteries, You used to open your arteries 400 times a day. Now you only open them up 15 times a day.
Yeah.
Wow. So we need to relax and laugh, and it increases our blood flow, and it makes us more joyful. So it's huge to relax and laugh on a daily basis. And I say strategically do it right after work, or on the way home from work, or in the middle of the day. You have to, because it's going to make you more effective.
I'll tell you, I enjoy laughter. You and I talked. I lived in Las Vegas, not far from where you live now. And I was a stand-up comic and an opening act for a lot of people. And I laughed all the time. I got a kick out of it. Whether I had money, I didn't have money, whether I was working or not, I always, managed to find a way to laugh. But I think when we're children, we're not bogged down by the pressures of the world. as we get older, we're supposed to be grown up. We're supposed to act like grown-ups, whatever that means. And, and therefore you don't laugh as much. I know this much. A lot of people in show business laugh a heck of a lot more than the 9-to-5ers out there that as soon as the work is over, they're heading for the bar or someplace to relieve that stress. Go out and hit a bucket of balls, for God's sakes. There's a place down in Las Vegas, if it's still there. There's a batting cage. Is that place still there on South Las Vegas Boulevard? That baseball place.
They have that, and they got this great golf places that you can go to that's phenomenal, that's incredible. But the bottom line is, Gary, I'm always looking for a law, a principle, a strategy that can enhance my life. So if children are using it and it works, an adult should be able to apply it to their life so it'll work for them too. And don't let your age stop you from having the joy and the health that you can have. And when you laugh, it just takes you to a different level of peace and tranquility. And it's really that vasodilation, opening those arteries up. That's huge, because if you're not laughing, you're in trouble, because it's made. Because I've heard a couple of great artists say, "I don't trust people who don't laugh, because something's wrong." So something's not right with that person. So laughter is a testimony and shows you that person is in a good place. It's huge.
Absolutely. We're talking to Jerry Anderson, the author of The Leadership Diet, 21 Health Laws of Leadership. We're now going to really get into the book now from everything that I read, and I enjoyed reading the book a great deal. You talk about in the first law is measure your waistline. Is that to determine where you are, or is that to determine, how much you need to lose? I mean, you said that men and women with large waistlines are more likely to die early. Why? I know that a lot of big people that are older. I mean, my uncle was 385 pounds. He didn't die because of his weight, but he did die for being overweight because he had diabetes, which is another thing that I want you to get into. Talk about the correlation between having a large waistline and also being overweight and the possibilities of developing diabetes.
Yeah, that's huge, Gary, because that's the first health law of leadership, is measure your waistline. It's accountability, and it's letting us recognize, like, take a look at your gas gauge before you drive across the country. So you need to know where you're at to where you're going. The waistline dictates your lifeline. The larger the waistline, the shorter the lifeline. So the waistline is very important. So I recommend that if you this is by the International Federation of Diabetes. For women, your goal should be to get your waistline under 30 inches. And guys, the goal should be to get the waistline under 35 inches. I know maybe the American Cancer Society says 35 inches and 40 inches, but I like that 30 and 35. It just puts you in such a great position. For instance, guys, if your waistline is 42 inches and you should be at 35 inches, that's 7 inches over the healthy waistline goal. For every inch, Gary, that someone's over the healthy waistline, that's a 5-pound weight loss they should lose. So that's 35 pounds that you're overweight that you need to trim down so you can get your waistline back intact, because that waistline tells you the entire story. So as the waistline goes up, the lifespan is going to be reduced drastically. And that waistline tells you a lot. You're talking about, I work with the American Diabetes Association for 12 years, Gary, and I've heard and seen all kinds of things that waistline is a major problem. It's one of the things that diabetes is when your body you don't have enough insulin to drive the glucose from your bloodstream into your cells. And a lot of times it centers around this, that your pancreas has a certain size, and it gives out a certain amount of insulin for your body weight. So once you exceed what it can do, now you need some external assistance. So there was a body weight that insulin that your pancreas met the need, and then you gained so much weight it couldn't meet the need. So a person who's at that weight should get back to that healthy weight, and then their pancreas will meet the need. Because it's not about, you can't increase the size of the organs, but you can increase the size of the body. So those two need to line up. So there's a crazy way. I don't know if that makes sense, because I remember doing the health fair and I was talking to a doctor, and he's like, for instance, if I'm putting out enough, the pancreas puts out enough insulin for a person who weighs 180, but then if they go to 200, it can't meet that need. So you need to get back to 175 pounds so it can meet the need. And that's a lot of what diabetes is centering around, because you have exceeded the limit of the pancreas to secrete the insulin to drive the glucose into your cells. You're just too big.
So in other words, if someone weighs 240, 250, and they're a diabetic, and now they go down to, say, 200 or 180 pounds, there's a chance, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, I mean, I've heard of this, that their diabetes might go away.
It's a high possibility because it's determined by the insulin that's secreted. Because you can drop your body weight 10 to 15 pounds and reduce your possible chance of diabetes by 80%. So there's a lot of ways you can do it. And my thing is, here's my question that I like to ask, Gary, is at what weight did your diabetes start? You know the weight that it started, so you need to stay under that weight. That's your cutoff point. That's the point where you can't meet the need. So there's some simple science involved in this situation. So you don't have to be a rocket science. You don't have to always check your blood sugar. But if you're diabetic, you should. But those numbers are giving you information because you're your own advocate. The doctor can't do all this work for you. You're going to have to do some of it on your own. So that's just simple information of just self-monitoring. We all have to do some of that. So it's very important.
We're excuse me. We are talking to the Leadership Diet author, Jerry L. Anderson, the 21 Health Laws of Leadership. Gary Allen with you here on The Express. The next thing I want to cover is something that you and I laughed about the other day. And everybody out there, I know, you heard your mother say this at some time or another in your life. Slow down and stop eating so fast. But she never explained why. Why is it important for all of us to slow down? And also too, they talk about the breakfast. It's one of the most important meals of the day. But for right now, just talk about why is important for us to slow down and stop speed eating. Because like I said, my mother used to always tell me, stop and slow down, but she never would explain why.
Yeah, that's very important, Gary, because that's my 8th health law of leadership is slow down your eating speed. I always recommend take a bite every 30 seconds and chew your food at least 20 times. Because what people are doing is tossing in food from their lips to their throat and never satisfying their taste buds, which are around the outside of your tongue. So if you chew longer, you can enjoy the food longer, and then you get satisfied. And there's a mechanism. It takes 20 minutes for your stomach to send a message. You're burning you're full. A lot of people are eating so fast, they're beating the mechanism. So when you slow it down, you can enjoy your food more, and then you can get satisfied. But when you eat really fast, you're going to overeat because you're beating the mechanism. So what it's doing is just let that palate enjoy the food. And the reason, there's no way you're going to eat a carrot fast. There's no way you're going to eat celery fast. There's no way you're going to eat apple fast. There's no way you're going to eat real food fast. So when you're eating fast food, you're eating fast food.
Yeah.
So you need to eat slow food, chew food that you have to chew, and then it controls the part of what you're doing. Because when you're chewing, it controls the emotional part of eating. So when you're just swallowing, you still emotionally say, oh, that tastes good, I want some more. No, you don't need any more. You need to chew longer, then your taste buds can send that message to your brain that this is delicious and I didn't overeat, which is huge.
You also say in your book that the fastest eater usually at the table is also usually the heaviest one at the table. Is that just from personal experience, observation on your part?
Yes, it's definitely observation. It's not a study. It's observation. Hey, you listeners, take a look at who's ever the fast eater. Because think about it, Gary. If I'm taking a bite every 30 seconds and chewing my food at least 20 times, and you're taking a bite every 10 seconds, you're eating 3 times the amount of food that I'm eating in volume. So you can see the speed eater is overeating because they're responding to it in the wrong way. For you to enjoy it more, you have to keep it on your palate longer, not just toss it over from your lips to your throat and want more. So you have to slow it down. But the way to slow it down, fruit, vegetable, grains, something that you have to chew that has fiber on the outside, it'll slow down the speed. And people just eat way too fast. I mean, I remember having lunch with my cousin, and we was having lunch, and he ended up eating 2 large salads in like 10 minutes. I'm like, whoa. And he said, and he was telling me he's having some problems, losing weight. And once we sat down and had lunch together, I could see what the problem was. He's speed eating. He said, I've already always ate fast. And I said, no, you got to slow it down so you don't have so much volume and you're taking in more calories you burn. So you have to create a deficit to drop some of the weight. So it's really, when you're eating fast, it's always a problem. Just enjoy the process. And, and I always say this quote to me, you should eat enough for your particular work. If you work in the office, don't eat like a construction worker. So you see, a lot of people, you're at a desk all day. You're not a construction worker, so your volume should be less. So don't overeat. Make sure you're eating a lot of crunchy, chewy foods. And it's a thing again that when you hear people talk about something they really like to eat, you can see how deeply they can embed that into a DNA, which is not possible. That that tastes so good. No, that's just nourishing my body so I can fulfill my assignment, do the things I love to do, my passion. But if I don't use food properly, I won't be able to do the other things I love to do. It's going to slow down the process. And it's almost like, Gary, just like measure your waistline. In my book, I tell a story about this prince of Saudi Arabia. This guy, 41 years old, net worth $15 billion, been trying to win the Kentucky Derby for the last 5 years. He finally won the race. They show him in the winner's circle, and I see this guy, and his waistline looks like it's over 60 inches. I'm going, oh, my goodness. He is in trouble, heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, all those numbers go up. Do you know, 3 months after winning Kentucky Derby, he had a massive heart attack in his sleep and he died. 41 years old, net worth $15 billion, just won the Kentucky Derby. He succeeded in business, but he failed with his health. So the $15 billion didn't mean anything. He did get the Kentucky Derby, but the choices he made with his health was unhealthy. I don't care if you make $100 billion, you still need to eat healthy. And that waistline is a real measuring point. It tells you everything. It's your gas gauge.
Yeah. I'll tell you were saying during the time about slowing down and eating if you're sitting at the dinner table. If you'd sat at our dinner table and there were 9 kids and 2 adults, if you didn't eat fast and you went around for seconds, it wasn't there.
Yeah. And
I'm making a joke. I'm making a joke, but it's true. There used to be the old saying that my dad had, and that was grab it and growl. And by the way, you better take what you want now because the next time you come around, it may not be here. And many times it really wasn't. Let's go on to something else that I have heard also from my mother, and I've heard from hundreds of people, thousands of people. When I was in the military, it was the same thing. You and I talked about it briefly the other day, and that's about a good, nutritional, balanced breakfast. Sometimes if I do eat breakfast and I'm not a big breakfast person, I really am full until maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And maybe then I'll have a nutritional bar or something like that. But how important is a good balanced breakfast? And what is a good balanced breakfast?
Gary, that's a great question because that's actually my health law number 2 is to have a healthy breakfast. That's the way you want to start your day, with a healthy breakfast. Have a bowl of oatmeal, some cream of wheat, some fresh fruit, some whole wheat toast. See, the thing is you want to put the quality gasoline in so you could perform. If you don't eat healthy, there's no way you could drive your car on an empty tank. So you want to make sure you get a good jump start. And they've shown studies, even with children, if they don't eat breakfast in the morning, they don't do as well in school. Guess what? If you're an adult and you don't eat healthy, you're not going to do as well at work. So it has a big difference on you. I remember training a former NBA basketball player. This guy was 6'11", 280 pounds. I said, Larry, what do you eat in the morning before you go to work? He's a salesman now. He said, well, I usually have a cup of coffee and 2 donuts. I said, Larry, let's not do that. I said, okay, I want you to have a bowl of oatmeal, have 2 slices of whole wheat bread, and if you're still hungry, have some fresh fruit, and make sure you drink 16 ounces of water before each meal because water is your most important nutrient. Do you know, Gary, in 7 days, he came to me and said, Jerry, I feel so good. I feel so healthy. I feel so strong. I can sell anything. He said, I feel like a WWF wrestler. So he got so charged up, it increased his sales drastically because he had the energy, he had the focus, and he was ready to go. He was revving up like an Indy car where he was a Volkswagen before that, having that weak breakfast. Having a cup of coffee, a donut, and a cigarette. Come on, are you serious? That's crazy.
You know what? Most of America probably is at that point. A cup of coffee, maybe a glass of orange juice, a piece of toast, and they're out the door.
It's true. A lot of people do it that way. But the thing is, Gary, even if you put regular gasoline in an Indy car, it's not going to perform right.
Yeah.
Even though you can still drive it, it's not performing at maximum levels. So let's put the right thing in so it can perform the way. Because ultimately, Gary, it comes down to this. We all want to do the best we can with what we're doing and what we love to do. So you need to have the energy, the focus, and know that I got the gasoline. It's almost like the pit stop. When I love watching the pit stop. When you get in there, boom, they change the tires, they put the gas. They got all this stuff going on, and then they're back out on the track just killing it. So to me, that's what breakfast is like. You're pulling into the pit stop, you're loading it up right, and so you can get out there and perform like a real giant.
We're talking to Larry L. Anderson, the author of The Leadership Diet, 21 Health Laws of Leadership. You can get the book at Amazon. Also go on his website at healthcoachjerry.com. You're also listening to The Express. Gary Allen with you, your humble host. One thing that I want to talk about, and of course, exercise is an extremely part of your program. And your fifth law is the 7-on-7. And I don't mean what they do in pro football during spring training. Talk about the 7-on-7 that really can benefit people. And you don't have to go necessarily to the gym to do this. You can do it at home in the mornings for about 15 minutes.
This one is great, Gary. It's the fifth helpful law in leadership. It says have a 7-and-7 in the morning. A lot of people think, are you recommending I have a drink, Jerry? No, I'm not talking about single 7 and 7 up. I don't want you to have a 7-and-7 in the morning. When you don't have time to exercise, which people tell me all the time, I want you to stop, you drop, and you roll. Do 7 push-ups, do 7 squats, take a shower, go to work. Why would I do this? I said, Jerry, that's not nothing. Okay, that's 49 push-ups, 49 squats a week. That's 200 a month. That's 2,400 a year. You think that won't improve your condition? Of course it will. But what I'm really after, Gary, is creating the exercise habit. So once you create the habit, then you can create a progression to go along with it. So the 7-and-7 is huge. I remember, Gary, this lady was telling me at a conference I was speaking at, she said, Jerry, I don't have time to work out. I have 3 kids. I work full time. I don't have time to even work out. I said, okay, before you take a shower, just do 7 push-ups on the wall, grab the door handle, do 7 squats, take a shower, go to work. She calls me back 6 weeks later. She said, Jerry, I've been having a 7-and-7 every morning, and I've lost 12 pounds, and I'm up to a 21-and-21. She said, when I do that 7-and-7, I'm more conscious, and I'm conscious about my nutrition. So it changes a lot of things. And one of the things what happens too, Gary, is when you work out in the morning, it speeds your metabolism up the entire day versus kicking it in midday. So you're revving up a little bit more. And it's really about keeping the habit in place, and it's so simple, and then you can always expand it.
Yeah, I was reading that, and I was thinking, wow, this is again, like a lot of people will tell you, you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money and join a gym and put yourself under a contract. You can do a lot of things at home, even after or before work in the morning. You can walk. You don't have to walk fast. You start off at maybe going a quarter of a mile, then a half a mile, and build yourself up to it slowly but surely. I wish they had that attitude when I was in the Air Force in basic training, but no, you start doing those 20-mile hikes right away. They didn't hold back on that. Let's talk also, too, about something I think it's very important. In Europe, oh, by the way, something I wanted to bring up earlier was Johnny Carson, without ever reading your book, because you wrote this book well after he's been gone for a lot of years, he believed in just putting enough fuel in the tank for your body and don't overdo it. That's how he maintained his weight. He was the same waist and weight. I think he was within an inch of when he was in the United States Navy. He talked about it often on the Tonight Show. And I never got to meet Johnny, but he was always in good health. Something that I think is extremely important, is at lunch in Europe, that's their dinner time. And then at dinner time, they have a salad or something light. And I want to talk about, you recommend at lunchtime to supersize your salad. Number one, you say that you went over this with a CNN anchor. We won't get into who he or she was because you don't in your book. I can only, and I wouldn't have a clue which one it is because probably by whoever interviewed you then, are they still on the air now without telling me who?
Yes, they're still on the air.
Okay, all right. but the anchor was surprised, and the anchor said to you, well, if I supersize my salad, I won't have any room for cake. Exactly.
And you're right, Gary.
I mean, I don't know where this person went to school, but even my cat, even my little kitty here, Princess, is going, exactly.
Yeah, because it's a strategy. A lot of people don't really think about it, because what happens again, the mind is on the cake. It's really not on the salad. It's not about the vegetables. It's not about the fruit. So you put your mind on the cake, and you're just using this as a stepping stone to the cake. Because if you supersize your salad before you eat your lunch, it's going to fill you up, and it's going to fill you with the right nutrients so that you could perform all day. Gary, I remember this guy telling me years ago that he supersized his salad every day before his lunch for a year and a half and lost 95 pounds.
95?
95 pounds. He went from 280 down to 185 pounds, 95 pounds, because he couldn't overeat, because he supersized the salad. See, what I'm really doing, this is a strategy with the supersized salad and health law, is to position you to create a deficit. So, for instance, if you reduce your daily calories at lunch from 300 to 500 calories, and you don't increase the rest of your calories for the rest of the day, you will have a 30 to a 50 pound weight loss in 1 year. It's that simple.
I know soda because when I was performing in Vegas, I noticed that when I was on stage, and usually you're on stage for 45 minutes to maybe an hour, depending upon who you're working for, I would have a loss of energy. And I stopped drinking soda. I love to drink Dr. Pepper. Oh, that's my favorite. I mean, I like Coke and Dr. Pepper. I worked at an Arby's when I was a kid, and I'm addicted to the curly fries too. But I noticed that within 6 weeks of stopping drinking soda, just drinking water, not drinking any kind of soda, clear or otherwise, and I lost weight, that my energy started to pick up. Is it because of the overload? Is it the overload of sugar?
Yeah, definitely. That's my health law number 6 is skip the soft drinks, because the soft drinks is replacing the water. Look, Gary, your blood volume is 90% water. Your body weight is 40 to 60% water, depending on the muscle, and your muscle weight is 80% not soda. So when you replace the soda with the water, now your system is working more efficient, and you can sustain your energy. Because when you drink the soda, your blood sugar goes up really quick, and it drops because it doesn't have any fiber to put the glucose into the bloodstream slowly. So it regained it. And so especially if you're living in Las Vegas, it's so easily to get dehydrated. So water is the most important nutrient you could take in. So skip the soft drinks and drink more water. And I always say, if you skip 2 soft drinks a day, replace it with 2 bottles of water, in 1 year you have a 50-pound weight loss, which is about 10 inches off your waistline. You'll be at that healthy waistline that I have with health law number 1. Voila, right there. That simple. So those are some simple, easy ways to get there. But I tell you, if you're in an area that's humid or that gets warm and you are dehydrated, you are going to be in trouble. I checked some of my clients' water content, and I had a lady one day, she came in here, she was only at like 60% in the middle of summer at 115 degrees. I'm like, don't even bother going outside. You need to hydrate and get yourself hydrated. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. Heat stroke is sitting there waiting for you.
Yeah, people don't realize when you live in Las Vegas or you live in Arizona, the western part, or even New Mexico, it's humid, it's hot. I mean, I could literally stand outside of Caesar's Palace or Treasure Island or the Wynn Hotel, and at 12 o'clock at night, touch the side of the building where the sun has been all day, and you can burn your hand at 12 o'clock at night because of the heat and everything. Imagine what it's doing to your body. Now, granted, you're not sweating a whole lot because it's lack of humidity, but man, you gotta take care of yourself when you live in a climate like that. And here in Florida, especially, it's a humid climate, but I always drink. I have water by my side, whether I'm on here or at the radio station. We're talking to Jerry Anderson here on The Express with Gary Allen. The Leadership Diet, 21 health laws of good leadership for you. And before we get into anything, and we didn't get into, you're going to be back, but we didn't get into the bodybuilding aspect of it. But you said that when someone is more muscular than they are just fat, The muscles eat up a lot of fuel, a lot of calories. They burn it real quick. That's why athletes eat like crazy. If you've ever been to a breakfast table for a pro football team like I was with my brother who played pro football, your metabolism speeds up. It burns up more calories and everything else. Talk about the importance of muscle versus fat as far as helping you burn even more calories, because as you get fit, you're developing more muscular tissue. Therefore, it's absorbing more of the stuff and it's burning it off. And also, too, eating little meals is a good thing as well.
Right. You know what? That's my health law number 11. Build your muscles. Because your muscles is what burns the calories. Because the bigger engine you have in your car, the more gas it burns. When you shrink the engine down, it doesn't burn as much gas. And the key is that it improves your posture. It gives you the youthful appearance and the strength and stamina to go with it. And Gary, what it also does, it increases your bone density, especially when you're getting older. I'll be 60 this year, 60 years old. It's so exciting for me. When you fall, you won't break, because your body is used to dealing with stress. So the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn every single hour of the day, even while you sit at your desk or watching television. I remember years ago training this salesman, and he said, Jerry, I want you to help me lose some weight. I want to improve my appearance. So the first year we trained together, he lost about 35 pounds. He improved his appearance. He lost body fat. He built muscle. But Gary, the most amazing thing I noticed what happened for him was his sales went from $500,000 to $1 million. The next year, he went from $1 million to $3 million. The following year, he went from $3 million to $5 million. When he improved his appearance, he improved his strength, he improved his density, and he improved his sales, because you feel good about yourself. So not only is it going to impact you as far as health, it's going to help you with your finances too. It's huge.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's talk. We've got about a little less than 5 minutes to go in the program, and it's been a delight having you on. We're going to have you back because there's so much more to go over, and maybe you'll shoot me over some of those other laws that you came up with that you didn't necessarily put in this book. Hopefully one of these days I will absolutely follow them. We've been talking, of course, to the author, Jerry L. Anderson, The Leadership Diet, 21 Health Laws for Leadership. Get it on Amazon, please. This is a wonderful book. It's a wonderful guide for you to help you to be motivated, to move forward. You should also go on his website. There's a lot of good information there at healthcoachjerry.com. That's healthcoachjerry.com. Gary Allen with you here on the Express, a few minutes that we have left. What do you want people to take away most of all from your experience and these 21 laws?
You know, Gary, I just see how valuable it is to be healthy. You know, I talk to people who have neglected their health. I was talking to a lady the other day, and she said, Jerry, I got cancer. And I said, wow. She said, I'm a diabetic. I haven't been taking care of my health. Her waistline was about 48 inches, which she's 18 inches over, so she's 100 pounds overweight. And she says, I didn't exercise. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to do it. So, you know, you don't want to put yourself in that suffering position. You don't know what to do and how to do it. To me, my heart goes out to those situations. And that's what the leadership diet is all about. The 21 Health Laws of Leadership, it'll give you all the steps that you need to take to be healthy. Because, you know, success is putting together two successful things together to make something bigger. Because, you know, like I think John Maxwell says, you know, everything rises and falls on leadership. But I say, health is a foundation of leadership, because you cannot lead without your health. You cannot do anything without your health. The joy of life is being healthy, and it's not that difficult. It's mainly difficult in our minds. It almost brings me to the health law number 21 is visualize yourself succeeding. See, we visualize ourselves failing, so we have to change that thought process. See yourself following the 21 health laws of leadership every day. It's going to benefit you, your family, and everyone else that's following you that's going to benefit. And Gary, I have to share this with you really quick. I remember when I first implemented the visualizing myself succeeding, I wanted to win a bodybuilding contest. So I looked through some bodybuilding magazines, saw a body I thought I could achieve. I cut it out, took one of my photographs, cut my head out, put my head on the body, and I posted it up on my bathroom mirror. So I did. And so I could see it every single day. When my friends and family members saw it, they laughed at it. Even the girl I was dating at the time, she laughed at it. She said, Jerry, that looks ridiculous. Your head on that guy's body is never going to happen. That didn't stop me. I've kept visualizing that every night and every morning. And do you know, in 5 years, I had the body. I went on to win 15 competitions in a row and Mr. Natural Universe, 40 and under category and over the same day. So when you get that right vision, you can produce the right results. Yeah. I was speaking at a conference in San Francisco, and I'm sharing this story, Gary, and this lady in the audience starts crying, and I'm going, what did I say to upset her? After I finished speaking, I walked over and said, are you okay? What's going on? Did I upset you with the story? She said, no, Jerry, I realized something. I did the same thing you did, but the exact opposite. Gary, she took a picture of herself overweight, put it on her refrigerator door because she thought it would prevent her from overeating. It didn't. She even got bigger. See, if you create the wrong vision, you're going to create the wrong outcome. You got to visualize yourself succeeding, because if you can visualize it, you can actualize it. That's what it's really about. Okay, yeah, the leadership diet. Okay, yeah, the 21 health laws of leadership. But can you visualize yourself succeeding? You see these athletes in the Winter Olympics, if they couldn't visualize that success, they couldn't actualize it, because a lot of them failed because they couldn't visualize. But the ones who could visualize, they succeeded, and you should do it too.
We've been talking to Jerry L. Anderson here on The Express, the Leadership Diet, 21 Health Laws of Good Leadership. Go on Amazon, get the book, really, and then also go into to his website, which is an excellent place to go to find out more about Jerry and everything that he does at healthcoachjerry.com. Jerry, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on The Express. You'll be back with us before too long. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate it. I appreciate this, and I want you guys to get out and get the book. Hey, if you need a speaker, coaching, contact me. It'll be my pleasure. Gary, and again, I really thank you. This has been fantastic, man. I love it.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. And thank you, all of you out there. Don't forget, you can find out more information about me, Gary Allen, A-L-N, at talkshow.com, as well as the show repeats itself on Thursday night on Renee's station, Diversity Broadcast Network. Go into tmvcafe.com, go into the tab section, get the radio tab, and go in and get the archives. And like I said, you go on my website, it'll give you all the links to get to know and see what's going on. Until next time, we'll be back next week with another exciting show. I want to thank EW back there. Randy, I know you've been listening in. To all of you to take the time to help me get this show out there throughout the country, I appreciate it very much. Until next time, take care of yourselves, each other. Good night.
You've been listening to The Express with Gary Allen. Join us here every Tuesday night at 10 for more captivating talk with Gary Allen. See you next time on The Express.